everyone, my name is Ashley Beeson and welcome back to my channel, and today we are talking fall trends. We are nearing it. I mean, where I live, the leaves have already started to change color, so that's fun. But I thought we would just do a video on 10 of the fall winter trends that we'll be seeing probably the most of. Some are pretty standard, normal fall. Some are like little tweaks on things that we usually see, or some are things that have completely gone out of style and have made a comeback. Fall is probably one of the best times for fashion because we're not worried about heat and we can actually wear our clothes the way we want to, in layer and style, and personally my favorite time of the year because most of my clothes are for fall, winter anyways. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So these are all wearable trends. I didn't want to pick out the things that I thought were wearable for things like social media. I wanted to pick out things that you could wear day to day, will work for everything, and it's more practical. I don't want to do like the fuzzy shoes or something that will get completely destroyed from one wear, because oh my god, that would just like kickstart my OCD and everything. But so starting it off with one of my favorite fall trends, I guess you could say, is going to be like the dark cherry red or the burgundy, I guess whichever way you call it or whatever version of it is. One of my favorite fall colors. I absolutely love like the Merlot color, the burgundy color, the deep rich dark cherry color. I absolutely love it, and it's a pretty standard, I feel like, fall color, or a variation of like a good red is a good fall color, I feel like. And so I'm happy to see that that's actually a big trend for this year's fall winter, and we're seeing it everywhere. So I think, you know, it'll be in leathers, it'll be in dresses, obviously coats, handbags, jewelry, shoes, of course, like the knee-high boots, or you know, the strappy little pointed heels. Like, oh, love, 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 love. I think this is just a good, solid foundational trend color for fall, and it can work with so many different other fall colors, and I will be seeing it a lot. I mean, come on, it's a good fall red. Next trend is olive green, kind of like this one, I guess. This one is, again, I feel like greens come in and out of fall fashion. It's always usually somewhere in that olives, like that deeper, not so bright and like springy kind of green, but it definitely seems like olive green, varying shades, whether they're a little bit darker or a little bit brighter, and everything in between, is going to be a part of fall this year. It was like on every other runway for the collections, and I love it. And just like the burgundy, it'll be in everything. It'll be in leathers, it'll be in knits, it'll be in everything. So it's like reds and greens are fall this year, along with like the standard grays and different types of browns and kind of those neutral tones. So I'm excited to see the greens. I love the different green shades. I like more of like the deeper ones, because when you start to go a little bit yellower, they don't match me. So I'm excited to see the greens everywhere, and I think they're a good earthy tone for fall, so got to love the olive green. Next is leather. Now, leather is not a new concept to fall. It's actually pretty common. You know, everyone's got their black or brown leather jackets that they pull out once the season switches. But what was interesting about kind of seeing what was walking down the runway and where we're going to kind of see for this particular season is that we are branching out of that standard black or brown neutrals with the colors, and we're seeing more bright toned or just like color toned that are turning leather pieces into like statement color pieces. Obviously the reds and the greens that we just talked about were part of it, but there's also blues being added into it and brighter reds than just like the darker cherry burgundy reds. But I love seeing that the leather is coming in something other than the neutrals. I mean, gotta love the standard black and browns, but I love that pop of color. And the other thing with leathers that we're seeing the transition of is, instead of like the more stiff and rigid styling of like the motocross leathers that we have been seeing, we're slipping back into a more elegant styling with buttery and drape textures, and those are in everything. They're in, you know, coats, they're in dresses, they're in skirts, they're in all sorts of different things, where it's just giving off a little bit, it's still giving off the structured leather, but it's much more fluid and it's drapey and it's gorgeous and I love it. And I have a black leathery drapey dress that I'm excited to wear. But I think seeing that shift from super stiff and rigid to a lot more light and buttery, for lack of a better term, when it comes to leather, elegant side is a really nice transition, since everything kind of seems to be going, if it's not like going kind of like the boho side of things, it's going the kind of more elegant and put together side of things. So I'm excited for the leather stuff to have that transition, but it's fall, so leather's always big and important anyways. Next is leopard print. I both love and hate leopard print. I love it in some cases, hate it in others, but it's cool to kind of, it's fun to see it come back, because I know leopard print was like a sin for a minute at some point, and then but now it's back and it's in everything. It's in coats, dresses, tops, even like leggings or just pants or jumpsuits, whatever it may be. It's in accessories, obviously with shoe and bag, and maybe in you know, like hair accessories or in earrings potentially, but more so like the bag and the shoe. I myself love the print in more of its like natural kind of standard, you know, kind of browns and yellowy, like the actual leopard colors, but it is in color. It was in red and black on black. I know Versace had black on black, and then I forget which other designer had like red and black. So it's definitely not just this standard print coloration. It is also in colors, but I think we'll probably see standard leopard print on people the most, because that's kind of the most wearable, I guess you could say, and probably the most attainable too. But I'm looking forward to seeing it styled well, and I'm happy it's making a comeback and it will actually hopefully be good, because sometimes it's not to me. But leopard print. Next we have volume, all of the voluminous textures that were on the runways, which means everything. Fur is coming back, feathers, the frayed fabrics, fluff, basically fluff, and I love it. I have a super comfy, like big brown fluff coat that I absolutely love, so I'm happy that this is a trend. But I'm excited to see, you know, the big fur coats come back in. I love seeing the feather details on some things. Some of them are on like the On coats, it's on like, you know, obviously the wrists, like the cuffs and everything, or the ends of it, or the sides. And then, you know, with, you know, dresses or pants, putting it on like the necklines or on the sleeves, ankles, wrists, all that stuff. I love seeing all of the different textured stuff. I think stuff like feathers and fur and just fluffy, and even like the frayed or like kind of zhuzhed fabrics is just super interesting and really levels up something like a coat or a dress, or even just a standard sort of top or blouse kind of thing. And I love it. I think it's a perfect fall trend, because who doesn't have, you know, some coat that's like big and floofy? So yeah, I have no qualms with this trend. Just the fur, I'm not sure, needs to be real animal. So, but I'm excited to see the different colors, because it's like combination of colors and neutrals. So love the volume, love the drama, love the extra, love the fluff. This next trend is something that I don't think I was expecting to kind of be as big as it is. And it's just like the broad spectrum of hats and caps. Because hats, you know, they don't go away. Because I wear baseball caps all the time and people wear hats all the time. But I was very shocked to kind of see that the amount of hats that are being pulled into this season it's wild to me, because it's everything. It's like every shaped hat under the sun is going to be a part of this fall and this winter, and it's crazy to me. But I do have to say, I appreciate the fact that the pillbox hat is making a resurgence, because I absolutely love that hat. It is just so adorable, and I love seeing it on the runway and knowing that it's going to be a trend this season. So I'm excited to see that. But I mean, like the military styled hats, riding hats are a part of it, baseball caps, which I love, the newsboy hats, the beanies obviously, and then the berets, which are kind of always a part of it a bit, and then swim caps were also a part of it. I'm not too sure how wearable that particular hat is, but I think all of the rest of them, except for maybe the riding hat, because I feel like those are going to be for like very particular people. But I think everything else has good strides for being super majorly wearable. And then of course the cowboy hat, which I feel like has kind of pushed and pushed and pushed, specifically with Beyonce. I think she's had a big impact on bringing the cowboy hat kind of more into fashion than it was, because it really wasn't. So lots of hats, and I'm very excited because I love hats. I love wearing a good hat, but I am definitely more of like a baseball cap kind of girl. So, but I appreciate the fact that hats are so big again, and I'm excited to see how everyone styles the hats in life. Next is one of my favorite categories, and it's pretty, I would say, kind of standard to fall, but the classic American sportswear is rising even more than it probably usually is. And that, you know, essentially this means tailored pieces, elevated trench coats, which, you know, this stuff isn't crazy outside the box for fall, but it's definitely more of like making your trench coat just that little bit more extra, or layering your tailored pieces just a little bit more, that kind of thing. Obviously it means knits, and I would also kind of pigeonhole with this category. It's also the tweeds and checks and argyle and kind of those standard fabrics and prints that we put with fall, knowing that they're still on trend and that you can still wear them and they're not old and dated. They're trusty, different types of blazers or pants or sweaters, whatever it may be. I love this trend because this is very Katharine Hepburn, and I love seeing I love tailored looks, and I love matching tailored looks, and I think it's a perfect type of look with fall and having, you know, big oversized trench or a big oversized different type of coat with some nice boots, and then maybe a little hat if you wanted. I absolutely love this trend, and I love the tailored pants, and I loved the layering and all that stuff. So this is probably one of my favorites when it comes to this fall, and I'm excited to see because it's a very kind of like classic, again, classic American and elegant and very sophisticated type of attire, but you can also make it modern and a little bit more edgy, and I really like that. So I love the tailored pieces. I love pairing it with the knits, and obviously the tweed, check, argyle, love it. Always goes good with a pair of boots. But I love the classic sportswear, making a huge push for this fall. Love it. Next trend is not something super crazy to fall. It's just the category of high necks. Now, obviously, when I first think of that, I think of turtlenecks, which again, nothing crazy, nothing revolutionary. But with turtlenecks specifically, like this season, it is varying, you know, thicknesses with having like your thick sweaters or whatever it may be. But I was seeing a lot more of like thinner, kind of sheerer turtlenecks that are being layered under stuff. So I think the thinner turtleneck layering with either like, you know, it's a dress and then you're putting a sweater over it, or if you're doing like a nice button up or something like that, it's definitely more of a layering thing with the standard turtleneck and keeping it a little bit thinner. But of course there's still going to be the regular turtlenecks that are thicker and got the sweaters and all of that. And then the other thing that was super prominent on the runway specifically was like the funnel neck silhouette, which is mostly a part of like the outerwear, so the coats and jackets, but they're like the big oversized kind of, you know, funnel, like the tubing kind of shape, and that was in a bunch of different fabrics and heights too, and it can be kind of folded and angled. So I think just having a warmer neck this season is going to be a part of fashion, particularly with that outerwear layering. But I don't think it's anything super crazy for the fall, because again, you know, we're not exactly new to like the turtleneck, or just like that higher neck, and so I think it makes sense for fall. So it'll be interesting to see how people like style the different types of outerwear and jackets with the high neck, getting rid of our necks. Maybe we won't see as many scarves and things like that when we have more of that layering and higher neck and the more stuff going on in the neck. Next one is the T-bar heel, which I was actually very shocked to see because it went out of style so long ago. It's like I do not see people wearing T-bar heels unless they happen to be people that dress naturally a little bit more vintage, because that type of heel is very vintage. But we're in that moment where people are very interested in vintage stylings and vintage accessorying and in vintage silhouetting, and so we're getting a very classic little heel, little cute little T-bar heels that I think are adorable, and I think you can do a lot with them, and you can make them really interesting with having them be obviously the standard rounded toe or the open toed, but I like the pointed toes. You can make them a little bit taller than they naturally are. It's taking a very classic styling, or you make it very interesting. I've seen both, and I love the heel, and I particularly love that this heel to me looks the best when you, depending on how you wear it, but for fall I think it would look the best with pairing it with like some tights or stockings and making it color. So it's like you maybe have some nice burgundy tights on or burgundy stockings on, and then you have like a little T-bar in either like a matching burgundy color or maybe something else, and I absolutely love it. But I love that this cute little vintage heel is getting a comeback, because it has been very long since we've seen it trendy. So long live the T-bar heel. The last trend on my list is the scarf, coat, cape thing. Not necessarily the cape, because the cape's kind of a different trend, but this is like the scarf coat thing. And it's, again, not too crazy for fall winter, because you could just take a massive wide scarf and kind of wrap it around yourself and you're done. But what I really like about this particular trend is that it goes past the idea of like a scarf and does kind of lean into more of being like an actual dress or an actual top or an actual coat versus looking just like a scarf. It can also have there are like capey moments, but it isn't the whole like cape coat or jacket trend. That's different. But this is a good trend for draping and layering, and it just elevates the scarf, because scarves can be so one-dimensional sometimes, especially for fall. And I think this particular trend is a really good way of just leveling it up, making it far more interesting, making it actually really a part of your styling, make it more of a look versus just an accessory. But you can also pull it in as an accessory, but it's part of the look, if that makes any sense. I think this is a very good fall trend, and it'll be everywhere because I feel like it hasn't fully escaped fall the last couple seasons. And those are 10 of the fall winter trends that we will be seeing this season. Some are pretty standard, just with different things to it to elevate it and to make it on trend for this season, and then others are not necessarily normal to the fall trends that we usually see, and some are like new for kind of a long time but are fully being trendy this season. And again, I absolutely love fall fashion because it is just so much easier to style, and most of my clothes are for fall winter. I hate styling for summer. It's the worst thing ever because all you want to do is keep cool. Horrible. But fall is upon us and I'm very excited. Let me know down in the comments what you guys are excited to see this season, if there are any trends that I didn't mention that you're excited to maybe try and style and take on your own personality with the trend. I would love to hear it. But that is the end of the video. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!